So I want to talk a little bit this morning about what we do for love. What is our commitment when it comes to love? If any of you are followers of the Course in Miracles or have ever heard Marianne Williamson speak, she talks about the fact that in the Course in Miracles, the spiritual text, there are really only two choices: fear or love. Our work each and every day, and I've said this many times here at Unity on Cape Cod, is to figure out how to allow ourselves the spaciousness to be able to make the choice, when we are in fear, to choose love. The moments when I feel the tightest, when I feel like love is not an option, are those moments when I'm in confusion. I titled this talk, Coming Out of Confusion into Clarity. Here is the interesting thing about the presence of the divine in my life and in all of our lives. I do not look at the daily word beforehand. The title of today's talk that I gave Reverend Tony a couple of weeks ago was Coming Out of Chaos and Confusion into Clarity. Yes? And today's reading is all about coming into clarity. I give thanks for divine order in my life. I joyously embrace and rely upon the clarity that expresses in every part of my life. Luscious clarity expressing in my life. These days, there is so much chaos going on around us. It is incredibly challenging, regardless of your political affiliation. If you wake up in the morning and feel like things are moving faster and there is less to rely on and understand, I think we are all in the same boat. And so what we need to be able to do again and again is to figure out, how do we stop and how do we find some clarity in the confusion? This morning, no lie, as I was driving here, you always hear about my drive from Boston. Many of you ask, will we? So yes, you will. So on my drive here this morning, I never know what I'm going to find. This morning I will tell you there is a great deal of confusion and chaos in my life. I will share, as I often do very personally, and let you know that in addition to my husband scheduled for surgery for cancer, June 21st, my mother was diagnosed with stage 3 lung cancer recently. And over the weekend, her hair fell out. This is my life. I don't offer this so that we pull out the violin. I offer this because each and every one of you, when I offer that up here, can relate and resonate and understand that you have challenges. So know that I do not stand here as a spiritual leader doing this work year in and year out, trying to figure out how to come holistically into this space and offer my whole self in ministry, free of distraction and chaos. Actually, there's more than ever. And inside of that, as I pulled up to a red light in Belmont before I even got to the Mass Pike to come down here to get to Route 6, I stopped at the red light, I looked up. No lie, I have no idea how this was created or how it was shown to me, but as I'm staring at the red light, because there's 2 lanes, and of course I'm thinking in the moment of judgment, I'm going to beat the car to my left. Yes, I think those thoughts too. I'm thinking, I'm going to beat this car, right? I'm going to get there on time. I'm going to be there early for Jack, because Jack shows up early, if everybody knows. Jack's here like 8:30. So I think I'm going to beat Jack, right? So I'm waiting, and I'm waiting to hit the gas, and I look up, and in the red light, I still don't understand it. There is a little bit of a half moon shape, and I am telling you, I saw a happy face emoji in the red light. I saw a happy face emoji in the red light, and this is what it did. It gave me a happy face. Seriously. These are the moments where we seek to come out of our confusion and to understand that everything really is okay. About 2 minutes later, I'm driving along the Charles River, where they've cleaned up a little bit of it, and I look over to the right, and something catches my eye, and it catches my eye again, and I realize it's fish. This is incredible that there are fish in the Charles River that are able to jump up and stay alive, right? And I see them jump up, and I keep driving, and then I glance to the right again, something catches my eye, and there are 3 or 4 geese who have just given birth. And the goslings, or tiny little goslings, are about this big, all furry, and they're all running around the mother. And I nearly, veered off the road because of the presence of love so clearly expressed to remind me. I'm sure that doesn't exist just for my experience, but my human mind wants to believe that that is the presence of God expressing as love in a way that I can see, take in, and shift my mind back to the understanding that no matter what chaos is around me spinning, I'm fine. We are fine. So many of you asked me this morning, thank you, as I asked you, how are you doing? And I said, fine. I'm not fine. My life is madness. I feel more disquieted and more vulnerable than I ever have in my life. And I got up this morning, came here, we performed some songs. You all showed up inside of the chaos that you've got going on. Why did you show up? Let me tell you why. You showed up for the same reason that I did, so that there could be an exchange of love. This is what we're hungry for. This is all we're actually here in this human body and this experience to do, to exchange love. The challenge is to remember, quite simply, to look up. The other day, I was at the gym. I looked around. This is the modern gym experience. There are about 10 other guys in the gym. It's the free weight area. 8 out of 10 of them are looking at a screen. And they're not looking at whatever ESPN was playing. They're looking at this screen. 8 out of 10. I counted because I thought it was so... In the moment, I had a judgment about it. I thought it was so disturbing. Used to be that there was a community that would go on at the gym and all over the place. I could sort of take the word gym and put in coffee house or library or Staples or the movies in line or any place else other than perhaps here. We are, as Bill Moyers has said, having our souls sucked out of us by our iPhones. We are committed to our iPhones and to our smartphones as our number one core relationship. There is no love exchange going on between you and your iPhone. We believe that there is. It is now being shown in all sorts of research studies that literally Facebook is built to express love back to us in a way that we get addicted to. Yes? So how many of you right this minute are thinking, did I get 6 or 20 likes for that picture of my breakfast? Okay, maybe not many of you. Some of you are. Some of you are. You are managing your distraction in the moment, right? We sort of have a ground rule that we don't have our phones out when we're trying to sort of come into the presence of one another. This is about the only place I know where that happens. Is that true? Do you have places in your life where people create a safe, sacred space where they can actually be with one another? I wanted to walk around that gym and just tap people on the shoulder and say hi. And I realized that if I did, I'm often met with anger and defense because there is a relationship going on. And it's a little bit of a secret relationship. I'm in relationship with my phone, and if you break that trance, I get a little frustrated with you, right? So really, our work to understand how to come back into connection with one another is very simple. 2 words. Look up. Just look up. When I was in a great deal of grief over a breakup of a relationship many, many years ago, a friend of mine offered that advice to me. She said, when you're walking down the street and you're in a place of distress and you're in sadness and you're in grief, which is really ego taking over and giving you stinking thinking, right? That often leads to stinking thinking, which is, I'm not enough, it's going to get worse, right? And she said, literally just change your focus. Just look up. And I remember trying it. I was walking down one of the streets in Boston, and I looked up, and I saw a cornice piece that I'd never seen before, and then I saw a bird flying. You know, there's lots of stuff going on up there. There's lots of stuff going on outside your relationship with your phone. Outside your relationship inside. We are desperate to be able to understand that what our human purpose is about is a vibrational exchange. Whether you enjoy getting that through a hug, a handshake, or a hello, there is a need that you have to see and be seen, be understood and acknowledged for the presence of God that you are. Because most of us think the opposite. We think we are simply not enough. We think that there's something to be fixed. And New Thought will tell you, in every single tradition, be it divine science, science of mind, or unity, it will tell you that we are enough as we are, that God, the spark of life, divinity itself, lives inside of us. And what happens is, when we move from this to this. In between, there's a translation process, and we get covered, and we hide. And so our phones provide that kind of cover. They provide the secret, clandestine relationship in which we think it's going to pay off. And we think with 16 more likes, or somebody else texting us, telling us that we're beautiful and smart and kind and good, that we'll finally get it. It's a lie. So I would ask you today to think about, as you move through your week, what we're really doing here. And what it really takes to move out of confusion. What it takes is a commitment to love here first, and then here second. But it happens simultaneously. The reason why many of you will say you come here on Sunday and you leave here in a different state in which you came in is because your vibration has literally been shifted. There is an energetic presence and process that goes on that, at least in this country, in this moment, we are only beginning to talk about. But what really goes on when we sing and we breathe and you say, Adam, you have a pretty voice, thank you, that was beautiful. You actually are responding to a vibration. And I like hearing that. I've been a singer for a very long time, and God blessed me with a gift, and I try to offer it. And I was exhausted this morning, and I got up at 5:15, and I thought, I am not doing it. And I realized that my work is the same as your work. It may look a little bit different today. You may not be standing giving a talk, but there will be a moment downstairs, or there will be a moment standing at that door where you have the opportunity to look up, not only from your phones, but your own worries and fears and concerns, and you can look in someone else's eyes, as vulnerable and as challenging as that can be, see them, recognize the presence of God in them as you recognize it in yourself, and what happens is literally a vibrational exchange that puts you in a different place. I will tell you, another half an hour with CNN is not going to raise your vibration. It ain't gonna happen. Another hour on email or surfing the web or Amazon for that very next purchase to give you that hit is not going to do it. A third croissant is not going to do it. Neither is that small or large tub of Ben & Jerry's that you have hiding in the back of the freezer that you're also deeply in relationship with. It won't do it. That is a lie. There are many lies that we in our human form need to make sense of. Hence the title. We do not need to be in confusion. Truthfully, there is no confusion. Whether you think in your human mind all is well or all is hell, all is. And I will tell you that all is good. All is good in this moment with every challenge you are facing, with every challenge I am facing. When I called my mother yesterday, bright sunshine came out of her. She said, I don't think I want to bother with that wig you said we should get. It's going to be really quick that I move through this chemo. And I'm devastated on the other side of the phone, and I realize, wait, this is my chance to look up. So I listened a little bit differently, and I said, how are you really feeling? She said, I'm feeling fantastic. And I thought, that's not what I was prepared for. I was prepared to be with you in your sorrow and in your pain, right? This is what I do. I nurture. I'm the minister's son. She wasn't there. Our work is to be in the joy and to pull the joy and to be in the very presence of joy. And in that moment, darn it, she had joy to offer. And she may have years of joy to offer. So I need to look up. I need to see her for who she is in that moment, the very presence of God teaching me. That's what we do. We come together in spiritual communities such as Unity on Cape Cod, these rooms, to be able to remind each other and to teach one another. We are all the preacher and the teacher. The magic words we have to offer are simply, I see you, I love you, I get you, or good morning. It's not that complicated. So I invite you again today, throughout your week, think about looking up from your own stuff to be able to see someone else as the presence of God that you are, and you'll be reminded how holy you have always been. And so it is.
You have been watching the message from our Sunday celebration service here at Unity on Cape Cod, providing a positive path for spiritual living. Please join us every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. at 147 Walton Ave, Hyannis, Mass. And visit us online at www.unityoncapecod.org.